Hey, Spirit Island fans, Matt here. We have an interesting combination today. We're going Wildfire and Many Minds into Prussia 6. And the reason that I picked this combination is that Many Minds has a somewhat cool power called Boon of Swarming Bedevilment. It's not that strong. It lets you push a presence and then defend one for each presence that spirit has in the land. And the reason that I'm combining this with Wildfire is because Wildfire, when you add or move presence after setup, you do damage, so you can get these ticks. And I think this is a very cool combination because it means that we're going to be able to, uh, every time we move Wildfire's presence, it's just like as if we added it from growth options. So we get extra damage. Hopefully, it will allow us to keep up with the very fast pace that Prussia 6 brings to the game. So let's get into it. Okay. Sands and Wetlands is a perfectly fine start. And so, right off the bat, what I'm thinking about is we have Wildfire will be able to do 1 damage in a land. So right away, this B1 or this C8 look good to just ping off an Explorer, potentially C6. And then we can also, as long as we have a plant element, we can do 1 damage in B5 to prevent that from building. So right off the bat, that lets us solve 2 lands. And then we will probably solve an additional land with the ability to push our presence. So we could use that to get like from the B1, push it into the C8. And that would be if we used this power, Boon of Swarming Bedevilment, in the on turn 1. Now it's a defend card, so we could use it later, but it's somewhat of a weak defend card, right? It only does defend 1 per presence, and as Wildfire, we're almost always only going to have 1 presence in a land. So I think it's better to use it to stop the build from happening in the first place. That does leave B3 and B6 as potential problem lands. We could maybe like asphyxiating smoke to calm one of them down, and then we'll do some damage to it next turn. But we might be looking to like draw into a defend card potentially. Let's look at what Many Minds is going to get up to. And so usually for Many Minds, I'm going to go top bottom to go to 1 energy, 2 card plays, and then next turn go out to 3 card plays. And we're probably going to do Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh next turn. That's the one that lets us skip a Ravage. All of the bad Ravages are going to be on Wildfire's board, but we can, think around this. I do think Pursue with Scratches, Pecks, and Stings can be used to clean out one of these 3 lands. And we could do it, I believe, next phase as well. I also like Guide on Feathered Wings to better position Dahan, getting Dahan into here where we're likely going to want to use a defend power next turn. Like a defend 4 will be good. And then we are just going to use the Beast Gather. So let's do not want that, want this. I'm thinking about going here. So we've created a beast, and then Guide the Way with Feathered Wings, and Boon of Swarming Bedevilment. We will next turn have the elements that we need to hit the second tier of the innate, and the second tier, the right innate as well. Okay. And then we'll gather a beast into here. We have one from the sacred site, and then we can push the explorer out. So that's this land solved, this land solved, this land solved the presence add, this land solved the presence move. And then this one we will use Guide the Way on Feathered Wings to get Dahan into here. Okay. I like this. One other consideration here is that we might want to save Boon of Swarming Bedevilment for next turn so that we could use it to like defend an additional land. I am sort of my like theory of the case for this pairing is that we want to use this as aggressively as possible and use it as an offense card rather than a defense card. So even if it might be like a little bit better to save it for later, I am testing out this combo to see how well it works. So I want to try it this way. And maybe it's a disaster, but I think it's I think that's kind of a fine move, especially against Prussia, which plays somewhat fair, right? If you remove an explorer, that land probably won't build. So it will hopefully get us ahead of where we need to go. So I think what we want to do is to do asphyxiating smoke, targeting this land, or potentially this land, so that next turn we can kill off the city. Yes, I do like that. So that means we do need to go energy. Let's put our presence here. We push the Explorer, or push the Dahan. I'm just going to push it into this land. There are benefits to having Dahan and Blight in the same land. Gain our energy, and then asphyxiating smoke. Great. Firestorm to kill that Explorer. The Devilment into here to kill that Explorer. Gather a beast in. And then for each beast beyond the first, push an Explorer. I like the idea of pushing it into a land that has a beast token, so it can potentially solve itself. We should actually defend to get the fear before we push. Maybe let's put it into a land that already has problems. There's no need to spread things out, especially when there's no event this turn. Okay. The coastal back-to-back is annoying, but fine, I think. This land we're going to allow to blight. This land we might allow to blight. And I don't think that we actually want to. Do we have to push the Dahan? Oh, we do. Okay. And now over here, we're going to go up to 2 card plays or the second fire. I think the second fire makes sense because we want to be able to do 3. Ooh. Second fire is rough. Let's look at Many Minds first. We want to have a sacred site here because we are going to need our defend 4. We need to get 3 beasts in order to do that. And we can actually only gather 1, and then we get 1 with move or guide the way on feathered wings. So we're all set for this. And then this land will skip. Defended, skipped. 1 explorer will live, unfortunately, so this is still going to build, but can't really do much about that. And then over here, this is the extra explorer coming in here is very painful. I think we need to Flame's Fury ourselves. And then we want to grow into here no matter what we do. So we are gaining a power card. We should do that first. It gives us more information. My general view on Wildfire is that you should always take the things that are perfectly on element. I think so much of its power comes from this left innate, and being able to play as many plants as you need is kind of key. Call to Guard, though, we can defend 2 here, which is actually very useful. Yeah, I think this is good. So let's go up to 2 card plays. We don't push Dahan. Call to Guard Flame's Fury. And we're going to do 2 damage, and then Call to Guard will defend there. Flame's Fury ourselves. This can only happen in a bladed land, so we actually have to go... the Call to Guard strategy, yeah, I think is still fine, actually. As long as we... Yeah, if we go Bladed Island, the Call to Guard strategy is fine. Not Bladed Island. Bladed... And we do our 2 damage to the 2 explorers. We don't push the Dahan. Call to Guard. That's defended for 2. This is doing 3 damage. Obviously, we can get edge cased fairly bad. But if we don't, we're in a really strong position going into next turn. So we want to teeming host arrives, gather a beast, guide the way, pull in both Dahan, and then I don't think that we want to move the beast because we want to do. Ooh, is there a way to do this differently? Because we kind of want to be able to a dreadful tide of scurrying flesh to skip an action there, but we are not going to have enough beasts. I don't think there is, so I think we may just be like skipping a build here, which I think is fine. That gets defend 4, and then remove 1 beast, 2 fear, skip a build. Okay. And we're allowing 2 blight to go through. That's fine. Ooh, spicy. Giving Dahan -1 health is actually very bad for us, because that means that Dahan will die here in the counter, in the attack, because it's hitting for 5. Dahan will die here. Unfortunately, we only have 1 water. We would have to forget 2 cards on Many Minds, which is just like not something that we can afford to do. So I do think that we have to let the land wither. So let's go this board. And now we have to add a blight to a sands, which is going to cascade. Each beast deals 2 damage. Not the most useful draw. Ooh, no, I want to do that differently. And this we do not want to count as a beast. Sorry, why didn't that work? Yeah, we just do 2 damage there. Okay, during the Ravage, defend 1, so we at least get saved a little bit. Push an Explorer into a land with more towns or cities than the land it came from. Great. So I think we're gonna push these out. This is fully defended, so we can push into there. And this, I think we push into the land that is already a problem. Let us Ravage here. Allow the Ravage. Okay. Destroy a presence and remove a town. Sure. Here, we can remove this one, because we don't have any need for sacred sites. And there was only 1 town to remove. And then here, we don't really need sacred sites anywhere. And we have so few wildfire presence, and it's tougher to add wildfire presence. So let's go ahead and kill this one. And I think we remove this town so that this is just an easier coastal build. Add a town, sure, here. And add a town there, because we can always do damage to it. Okay. Ever multiplying swarm lets us add 2 beasts. I'm going to add them to the more, maybe it makes sense. Well, we already have a sacred site here, and we can get beasts to there pretty quickly. So let's just add them to the more centrally located place. Okay. Many Minds is going to reclaim, gain a minor power. Fire in the Sky immediately solves this. It is off element. Gnawing Root Biters has no immediate value, but it costs 0, which is a big appeal on Many Minds. I like fear and immediately solving a problem that we know exists. And we'll probably never play this again, but we can use it right off the bat, and I think that's strong. I think we want to go Boon of Swarming Bedevilment again. And maybe Guide on Feathered Wings to get some Dahan into some of these lands. Okay. And then over here, Uh, I think that we want to Flames Fury ourselves and Flash Fires. Ugh, this is a messy hand. We do have to gain energy, I think. We're adding a presence. Might as well add into here. Okay. Firestorm now is going to let us do 2 damage, 3 damage with Flames Fury. And I kind of think, and this might be obviously wrong, but we do need to get a presence into here because this is like the giant problem. No, okay. What we're going to do is skip this next turn. This is going to get the Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh Ravage skip, so we just don't have to think about it. Okay. And then this, I guess, are we allowing that to Blight? Maybe that's not the right choice. Yeah, I think we should have added our presence differently. Let's go here and do the 2 damage there. And then, okay. And so the reason that I did that is that it makes it a little bit easier to kill this off. So Flames Fury, Firestorm, 2 damage, cleans that. And then we Fire in the Sky. So that's solved. Great, all of our coasts are solved. Boon of Swarming Bedevilment. We're going to push this into here. Adds a Blight, but does stop a build. And then we want to get our Dahan into here. So let's go there, because we're going to defend it next turn. And I think we do want to push a Dahan into there without moving presence. We can only do the defend 2, so might as well do that to get some fear. And then now we're going to gather 3 Dahan, or 3 beasts, so let's push them into there. I think I've been saying gather Dahan when I mean beasts all game. In each land with 2 or more towns, I don't think we have any of those. Nope, Voracious Consumption. After the Ravage step, add Blight to a land with cities and no Blight. I don't think we're going to have any of those, because our only land with a city has Blight. So we're not that bad. Dahan only do 1 damage each, but they deal damage before invaders. That's fine. Add Strife to a town or city in a land not matching a Ravage card. Happy to add it there. And then, I guess, here. And then we have to add towns into lands without towns. I like adding towns into places that already have a blight and a presence, simply because they are often useful for having a good firestorm target. So Burnland regrows lets us remove a blight. Love to do that. And then we can do 2 damage with flash fires anywhere we want. I think picking off this town feels good, because then we don't have to think about it next turn. We just have to defend this and skip that. The other option would be using it to kill an explorer. Yeah, I think I like that. Okay. And now we need to figure out how much of this we can solve with Many Minds' hand. So we are going to have, I think we go up to 4 card plays for sure, even though we only have 3, because it'll give us a better reclaim. The other option would be go up to 2 energy, which would then allow us to use the pay 2 energy to gain a power card space. And it gives us an air, which gives us the better gather, because we do not have an air on this card. So I don't hate that. Let's add presence here. We're going to need to have a bunch of beasts in that area sometime in the future. I don't think that we need to play the 2 energy to gain a power card right off the bat, but we might do it next turn. Okay. And what do we have? We want to skip this and then defend this. And then for each beast past the first, it'll let us move um, an explorer. So we could potentially find a way to uh, push an explorer somewhere. There's no really great uses of this. Okay. And maybe Wildfire is on a reclaim turn. I don't hate that. Because this just like Threatening Flames is not useful for Wildfire. So we would just be gaining a card and playing it immediately. Let's reclaim. Okay. These are interesting. Veil the Night's Hunt immediately solves a land. Right? We can just use it to kill that presence, which feels great. Um, yeah, I don't mind playing something just to like immediately use it. And then if we pair that with Flash Fires, we can kill an Explorer in the fast phase. So that can stop both of the jungle builds right off the bat. Okay. We're skipping one. And now we gather 2 beasts into this. Fear. We need to gather 3 beasts, actually. One, two, 3. And now we got the full defense. And there's no great uses of this. We could use that to like push explorers out, but I don't think it's helpful. I think this is fine. We've got 2 of our jungle solved, and we have all 4 of our wetlands solved. To me, that's a good place to be. On the single board with the most, nope. Skip the first Ravage action in one land, add a Blight to a land with towns or cities, and we can prevent this by destroying presence. Okay. I mean, adding a Blight feels bad. Here, I think we do destroy presence. There's so much Blight on this board already. Any Blight that we add would cascade. So let's toss those. And so we're going to prevent both. No, or yeah, prevent both. And then on this board, I don't mind adding a Blight. We could add it into this Sands or this Mountains. Neither of them are active. And we skip a Ravage, that's fine. Add 1 beast to the Sands with the most invaders. Simply love to see it. And Dahan defense. Add Strife to a town. Okay. That's the one we skip. That's the one we do. Skip the Ravage. Great. Okay, and we need to be fear maxing a little bit. Let's add beasts here because we know we either have to defend or skip it. And I think we're going to be adding our presence here, which means we are gaining a power card and going at range 3. Swarming Wasps, add a beast. I think that is a strong, useful power to have for Wildfire. And we're going up to 3 card plays. And we don't want to push that Dahan. And we have no real good Wildfire damage spots. We don't need Dahan defense. We can use Threatening Flames to push this explorer out so that it doesn't build. We don't need Flame's Fury since we're not doing a ton of damage. Let's see, this will give us 1-2 damage, and we can split it, or instead of Swarming Wasps, we could do Flame's Fury, and that gives us 5 damage, but we can't split it. Neither of those are good. We are reclaiming on Dire Metamorphosis is good, but I don't like adding Blight. But it is so on element. We might even just take this just to have the on element card. Rolling Bog and Snagging Thorn doesn't get any value. Scour the Land, we don't have it. We have too much Blight already. Unquenchable Flames could be useful for like a wildfire play in the future. I'm gonna grab the 0-cost Defend. I think that's just like a useful card to have against Prussia. Okay. And Boon of Swarming Bedevilment can be used. We do want to have the Dahan movement card, so Guide the Way on Feathered Wings. I think we want to use Pursue with Scratches, Pecks, and Stings. And then we want to do something that has both water and air, so that we get the full innate. Okay. I think this is good. And we have no Sacred Site for Asphyxiating Smoke. That's fine, because we will create one. Or maybe, yeah, I think that's fine. So Boon of Swarming Bedevilment, push you into here. Guide the Way on Feathered Wings. And we only need 3 beasts in this land, so we want to push it elsewhere. Okay. Defend this. We can gather 4 beasts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we only want 3 here. So let's push these out. And now we use this to push both of those explorers out. Flame's Fury ourselves. Oh, we should use Threatening Flame here. We have to undo to... Okay, Threatening Flame pushes this explorer out. Flame's Fury. Okay, and then defend 4. Gather 1, 2, 3, 4. And then push these guys out. And then Firestorm, we can use on either of these 2 lands to just kill. Okay. In the land with the most towns, replace 2 towns with cities. In lands with town cities, the land has -1 health. That is fine for us. Push 2 explorers or a town from a land with beast. Okay. So, pushing this town, actually terrible, because it will create a city if we go there, and it will ravage if it goes there. So we don't want to do it. On this board, though, we do have options. And I think we want to push this town out so that this doesn't build a city. We'll put it into there. Remove an explorer town from a land with Dahan. Stop that. And then over here, there's no great use for it. This is dying in the Ravage already. This is probably dying in the Ravage already. Remove an explorer town from an inland land. And this is each player. I like, if we stop this build, we only have one thing happening on this board, but we could potentially get rid of the stuff in here. I do think we're going to skip this next turn with Scurrying Flesh. So I think stop that build. And then I guess the town? No. We should do this, and we should do the town. And no, we want the town, not the explorer. Okay, and we are honestly a little bit low on fear. We need to be really ramping that up. Okay, we can remove a blight, and we can kill a town. So killing this town, just that's solved. I'm checking off the lands that are taken care of. This will get the defend, and then this will get the skip. So the Ravage is fine. We're working on how we can solve everything else. Where do we want to remove Blight? I think, so it would be here, here. I like the idea of removing this one. Okay. And I think we're reclaiming on Wildfire. Purely just because we're somewhat Blight constrained. We're not going to Blight it all this turn, but we might get a Blighted Island effect that's nasty. There's value to not having to add too much Blight off the card. Gift of Constancy, very good. Shore Seas with Hatred, I think is really strong. It's great elements for us. I like Constancy, though. Honestly, we could like give it to ourselves for energy. There's a lot we could do with that. And then over here, we're going out to 4 card plays. And I think we want to put our presence close to here since we have to get stuff there. And, ugh. I don't actually... These 2 cards are so off element. We are definitely, no matter what we do, we are gaining a power card though. So let's do that before we place presence. None of these are great. A little bit of damage with a beast is nice. Because we're going to have this, so it'll be 2 damage. Yeah, that's fine. And... And so we want something... We're... Okay. Yes, we have to do the wildfire side of things. And wildfire, I think we want to be thinking about how do we clean as much of this stuff out as possible. Threatening Flames, we can just push all that into a different land. Or push this. Okay, now we're doing... It's 2 damage that we can split. That doesn't feel good. Asphyxiating Smoke is not the card we're going to play. Let's go this way. This has to target Swarming Wasps has to target a non-blighted land, though, which doesn't feel good. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Firestorm. Actually, first we should Flame's Fury. Firestorm. Cleans that. And we are going to defend 2 and fire in the sky. So that's now taken care of. We gather some beasts in. And we skip it. And Threatening Flames, we can push and explore out of this land, which I think we do, and we push it into here so it dies in the Ravage. Independently, either forget a power card or lose 2 energy and destroy a presence. And we can remove a Blight. That's actually kind of nice. It goes back to the box, but um, Many Minds, I don't think we mind forgetting a power card at all. And then certainly on Wildfire, like we're never playing Veil the Night's Hunt again. So you're going to forget a power card, Veil the Night's Hunt. And then for Many Minds, I think we do want to drop a Presence. We only have 6 on the board. And we're going to reclaim next turn. Losing 2 energy is painful. Let's forget a power, and let's just forget Roiling Bog and Snagging Thorn. Destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts. Great. So that's one we definitely want to destroy. And then here, okay, if we have Dahan among our lands, we get an energy and can reclaim, which we don't. Okay. Some fear. Skip the Ravage. Okay. And we're going to remove a Blight, add some beasts, and then we can do 2 damage with Savage Maw Beasts. And we have a couple problem lands. On this board, this land is like the current issue. This will solve itself. This is already solved. Okay. And then on this board, yikes. I think we're just going to let this blight, most likely. And then we have to find solutions for these 3. This one probably gets a skip. This one, maybe a defend because it already has Dahan. And then this one, maybe we Wildfire, add Presence. Okay. That's a line that we can work with. Where is there a good use to do 2 damage, though? We can't target this. This is useless, this is useless, this is useless. So let's kill this town. And then Ever Multiplying Swarm will add Presence there. And then... Great. Okay. And we have 4 energy on Wildfire. I don't know how that happened, but I think we can go up to this 3rd fire token. And we'll go... Do we need to gain a minor? I guess... Huh. I forgot that it always clears your stuff after. This one we do need to think of a solution to. Is there a good use for like Call to Guard there? Huh. Let's reclaim on Many Minds. We're doing that no matter what. Sap the Strength of Multitudes. Unbelievable pull. Exactly what we needed. Defend 5 lets us not think about a land of our choice. We can do that even here, as long as we can get a presence into there. We've got 4 card plays. So we're definitely running sap. We're definitely running our skip. We want to get another one of our beast air cards. Guide the way. And then I think we want to also, we now need something that has all 3 of these. So this line is, I think, good. It's also going to get us incidentally 4 fear, which feels great. We're getting up to terror level 3. We are only 2 fasts and a slow left in the game. And how many cities do we have? We should actually look at this quickly. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can kill one with a wildfire immediately. We don't have any good way to do other city kills. We can kill another with a defend and another with like getting Dahan in. I mean, maybe. No, because we're going to end up building a city. I think we do need to fear out. So I'm looking at Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh, which gives us 2 fear for each beast removed. And we are currently sitting what? We're 32 plus 7, 39 fear away from a fear victory. Are we going to be able to hit that? It might be time to like grab a major. No, that can't be right. Okay. Let's see. I do like adding a presence there. Elusive Ambushes actually solves that land nicely. So we can instead add our presence literally anywhere else. So let's think this through. What if we killed this city? Okay. And then Call to Guard can solve that. Okay. So, Elusive Ambushes, defend 4. Firestorm is now going to do just 2 damage. Sap? Okay. So we have 3 problem lands. One gets solved with Scurrying Flesh, one gets solved with our defense innate, and then one has to, I guess, get Call to Guard solved. Which we can do that with Guide the Way on Feathered Wings. So let's go. Call to Guard. We don't need to pull in a Dahan because we have enough defend. That's now solved. And now we have the issue where we need to get enough of our. We just have to do this a little bit differently. I think we need to do the Guide on Feathered Wings and Call to Guard defend here. No, because that doesn't have enough potential. Well, we're not even within range. Okay. So let's go teeming host arrives here. And we're just going to pull in as many as we can. Huh. I guess if this cascades, we don't lose, right? Yeah, I think this is fine. So we'll just get all of our defense in. We're now at terror level 3. The way to do this might be to just fear max and like put as many yeah, I actually like this. So let's move and pull those Dahan in. We have 3 cities left. This one dies in the Ravage, this one dies in the Ravage, this one maybe a fear card takes care of. So let's go. Okay, that's we can't do that though because we do need the guide on feathered wings to get the call to guard to defend this. Okay. I don't think there's any way to get 2 beasts into here is my issue. What is this ravaging for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we might just be like run in fear and trying to kill as many cities as we can. Because we're only worst case scenario, blight blight or blight blight. So that's 2. But we're only building 1 city, 2 cities total. So either a fear card gets rid of this city, or we kill the 3 cities before the next ravage. I think that's fine, and we can like up our odds by uh, removing 2 beasts for some more fear, and we can. Maybe there's a way to stop a city from being built. I don't think so. I think we're just using this for fear. Add a blight in a land adjacent to blight. Okay. Destroy an explorer or town in a land with beasts. Okay. We kill that town. That town. Push 3 Dahan from lands with disease, doesn't matter. Choose a different coastal land with Dahan. In each, gather up to 1 Dahan, 2 damage per. So we're definitely using it here. Purely to get a second fear card. And then we have to do it to 1 more. Which, I guess here, might as well. Choose a different land with Dahan. In each, 2 damage per Dahan there. This can't really, unfortunately, solve any of our problems. Because all of our lands with Dahan, for the most part, are already taken care of. Choose a different land to isolate, also defend 4 in those lands. Great, so that's no longer ravaging. So now we'll just have 2 cities to get rid of. And what do we want to isolate? Sorry, 3 cities to get rid of. Yikes. I guess here creates a pocket. It doesn't matter. We're close to the end of the game. Ravage, ravage, ravage. Okay. And so we either need to get 22 fear or uh, kill off these 3 cities. And a good news is that a Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh does a lot of fear. We can probably find a way to get this to do, I don't know, 6 fear out of 22. That's not great, but it's not the worst. Um, Kill a town. Okay. All of our cities are in Blighted Lands, so we can't wildfire solve them. Well, I guess we could, because we lose if we go through up to the explore phase anyway, so we need to win before the ravage. So, wildfire has a very painful hand, though. Um, like it, if it does that, it is basically, if it adds presence, it is basically just adding presence. A potential option is we can kill 2 cities, one with Boon of Swarming Bedevilment and one with our presence add, in order to get a sacrifice victory, as long as we can kill this other city some way. So let us major power grab. Blazing Renewal is, oh, we cannot afford exaltation. Very painful. We're gonna have 6 energy instead of 7. The slow powers are useless. Blazing Renewal, we probably cannot threshold. Wait, let me think about that. Yeah, we only have 1 earth. Hmm. Blazing Renewal would get us Wildfire Presence at, though, which is another way to do damage with it. Huh. Okay. Let's hold on to that, and we'll toss the slow card because there's no way we're playing it. I think we're going with the sacrifice victory route. Okay. So to do that, we need to have one of the cities die in the Ravage. We can do that with, actually, let me see if there's a way to fear out. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We get 4 fear from this. We probably get 6 fear from Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh. Because it's 1 fear per. Okay, so we could get 8 fear from this, 4 fear from the Nate. That gets us 12. We get 13 from Pursue with Scratches, Pecks, and Stings. Do we have any other fast fear? Yes, Fire in the Sky, which unfortunately loses us fear from the innate, but it is still a net, because it's 2 fear, we lose 1. Okay, so that's 8 from Dreadful Tide, 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And so Wildfire just needs to get us 6 fear. Threatening Flames gives 4 fear if we can push to a land. I don't think that we can hit this. It does get us 2 fear, though, which is good. Flash Fires is 1. Anything else give us fear? And I guess we'll have fear from the Wildfire. Ooh, the Wildfire innate. We don't have enough presence in useful places to actually use this. I do think we're reclaiming, though, because no matter what we would get from this, it's probably not more fear than what we're getting from Threatening Flames. So Reclaim, grab a miner. No fast fear. Gift of Twin Days, though. Very good. Because Gift of Twin Days lets us repeat 2 fear here, and then probably repeating Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's going to get us a fear. Flame's Fury, maybe? I think... No, that is the best we're going to get. Okay. Let us gather. 1, 2... Ooh, no. We have to do this in a place where we can actually gather enough beasts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this now is 6 beasts. Move a beast. Ooh. We can't actually add a beast into here because there isn't one close enough. Is there a better place that we can target that gets us more beasts in? I'd plan to do here, which starts with 2 and is 2 away from this. Okay, well, let's do the easy fear first. We can actually repeat Threatening Flames because we don't have any easy way to add invaders there. Maybe that means Twin Days is not the best pick? Well, Twin Days still lets us repeat a Dreadful Tide of Scurrying Flesh. Okay. Flame's Fury, I don't think matters. Okay. We just need to get 8 fear, or 16 fear. Okay. Use this to push explorers into here. That lets us repeat Threatening Flames. And now we just need 10 fear. Let's go here. We're going to lose 3. And then guide the way. And then we now forget 2 beasts to get the fear victory. Whew. That was a fun little puzzle at the end. It's unusual that you're so far away from a fear victory, but it's kind of the only path that you have. So I want to talk a little bit about this game because I think there were some interesting pieces in it. The first is that we had a whole bunch of lands that became problems that Wildfire didn't have presence in, and Wildfire can't really kill things unless it has presence in a land and unless it has blight in a land, and it can't add its presence into a land unless it will also add blight, which then creates cascades. Normally you can do that once or twice a game, but because we took the more aggressive blight option using Many Minds' Boon of Swarming Bedevilment to push Wildfire's presence around, we ended up in kind of a rough spot where we had so little blight to play with that we weren't able to add Wildfire presence back into those lands. So that's like, that's a risk of playing Wildfire in general, that you can get too close to the blight limit. But that was a pretty painful realization. I think if I did this again and I was using Boon of Swarming Bedevilment to move Wildfire's presence, I would keep Wildfire for as long as possible on just one fire showing so that you can use that as a damage ping rather than the 2 damage ping. I think that's just like a little bit more responsible with the blight budget, uh, because I think us having such a low blight budget is the big reason why we struggled so much in the late game. Because this land uh, and this land, the sands on Many Minds' board and the inland wetlands on Wildfire's board, just were so built up and so blighted, and they kept constantly coming up. Not constantly, they came up a normal amount in a Prussia game, but every time they did, it was very painful. It meant we had to use inconvenient skips timed, and just once we got into stage 3, there were too many problem lands that we couldn't deal with, and too many cities that we weren't going to be able to kill. So I would sort of, you know, thinking about this again, if you're using presence movement skills with Wildfire, grow down bottom track before you get the second fire exposed, so that you're doing 1 damage but not adding the blight. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I've never played these two spirits together or tried to use that combo of like presence movement things on Wildfire. I like the game. I think it was neat, and it led to a very cool puzzle at the end, but it was probably not the strongest way to play. Or there's a better person who could play it in a stronger way, because it is very powerful. It just amplifies Wildfire's inherent very big power in exchange for very big punishment element. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Have a nice one.